When I was 20, I thought I had the world figured out. I thought success was just around the corner, something that would arrive the moment I worked hard enough, looked confident enough, or impressed the right people. But life, as it often does, had other plans. You see, the funny thing about being 20 is that you're old enough to dream big, but too young to realize that dreaming isn't enough. And it took me years of struggle, failure, and quiet reflection, to understand that the words we choose to live by shape the life we live. I stand before you today to share what I wish I knew at 20, the words that changed my destiny. The first truth I learned is that success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. I used to believe success was about luck, talent, or timing. But I discovered that it's about value. The world doesn't pay you for what you want, it pays you for what you're worth. Every book you read, every hour you invest in yourself, every failure you learn from, they're all silent builders of your worth. When you grow, your world grows with you. The second thing I wish I knew is that fear disguises itself as logic. Fear whispers, be realistic, when what it really means is, stay where you are. I wasted so many opportunities because I was afraid to fail, to look foolish, to take that first uncertain step. But I learned that progress always begins where comfort ends. The bridge between where you are and where you want to be is built with courage, one trembling plank at a time. The third lesson came softly, almost like a whisper in the dark. No one is coming to save you. Not your boss, not your parents, not the government, not luck. The moment I stopped waiting for someone to give me a chance and decided to create my own, everything changed. Life rewards initiative. When you stop asking for permission and start taking responsibility, the world opens its doors to you. The fourth truth is that attitude is everything. The greatest power you will ever have is the power to choose how you think. Every morning you have two choices: to see problems or possibilities, to focus on what's missing or what's within your reach. I've met people with little who live abundantly, and others with everything who live in misery. The difference isn't in their circumstances, it's in their minds. The fifth thing I wish I knew is that time is not money, time is life. You can lose money and earn it back, but the hours you waste doubting, complaining, or waiting for the right moment, those are gone forever. If you ever find yourself wondering what your future will look like, look at how you're spending your time today. Your habits carve your destiny long before you arrive at it. And finally, I wish I had known that happiness isn't something you find at the end of the road. It's something you build along the way. It's not a reward, it's a companion. It's the laughter in your struggles, the meaning in your effort, the peace in knowing you gave your best. When you live with purpose, you don't chase happiness, it walks beside you. When we are young, the horizon feels endless. We stand at the edge of possibility, eyes filled with dreams so vivid they could light up the night sky. Yet in our eagerness to chase those dreams, we often miss the quiet truth that defines whether they come true or fade away. At 20, most of us are in a hurry, desperate to make something of ourselves, to prove we belong in the grand theater of life. We think success is a race, and the faster we move, the sooner we'll arrive. But in that rush, we overlook the single most important principle that governs every form of achievement. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person you become. This truth is simple, but it carries the weight of every great life ever lived. The difference between those who rise and those who drift lies not in luck, not in brilliance, not in privilege, but in growth. You see, the world is a mirror. It reflects not what you want, but who you are. If you wish for greater rewards, don't chase the rewards. Become someone worthy of them. If you want respect, don't demand it. Earn it through the quiet strength of character. If you desire abundance, cultivate the habits and the discipline that abundance requires. In those early years, I believed that opportunity was a door waiting to be opened. I imagined that someday someone would notice my potential, offer me a chance, and from there life would unfold like a story meant just for me. But the truth is far less romantic. Opportunity doesn't knock, it listens. It listens to your preparation, your consistency, your hunger to learn. The doors of success don't open to those who wait. They open to those who have been silently preparing behind them. The value of a person is built in private long before it is recognized in public. Every time you study when others sleep, every time you practice a skill that no one else sees, every time you refuse to give up when failure mocks you, you are making deposits into the bank of your future. And one day, when life asks, "Are you ready?" you'll find that your preparation has already written the answer. But here lies the part no one tells you at 20. Personal growth is not glamorous. It is lonely work. It's the discipline of saying no to distractions, the patience of mastering small things, the humility of learning from your own mistakes. Growth doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't happen overnight, it happens every day. And while others chase applause, you build foundations. Brick by brick, habit by habit, thought by thought. Success, as many discover too late, is never about doing extraordinary things once. It's about doing ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. The person who reads a little every day, improves a little every day, reflects a little every day, that person moves mountains while others wait for inspiration. The mind, like a garden, grows what you plant in it. Plant doubt, and you harvest hesitation. Plant learning, and you harvest confidence. The world doesn't reward the one who hopes for success, it rewards the one who prepares for it. At 20, it's easy to believe that your future depends on external events. A degree, a job, a mentor, a stroke of good luck. But those are merely instruments. The real music of your life is played within you, in your thoughts, your standards, your persistence. You cannot build a palace with the mindset of a wanderer. You cannot hold greatness with hands that are untrained to grasp it. Every achievement begins not with action, but with becoming. There's a moment in every life when the question arises, why not me? Why can't I succeed, lead, create, inspire? And the answer is you can. But first, you must become the kind of person who deserves that success. The world is fairer than it seems, but its fairness is strict. It will not give you what you merely want. It will give you what you have prepared for. Every book you open, every idea you wrestle with, every time you choose growth over comfort, you are writing your future in invisible ink. Others may not see it yet, but life is watching. It's measuring not your words, but your habits, not your dreams, but your discipline. The ones who achieve remarkable things are not always the smartest or the most talented. They are simply the ones who refuse to remain the same. So, if you are 20 and standing at the crossroads of possibility, remember this: don't spend your energy trying to find success. Spend it becoming the kind of person success cannot ignore. Build your mind, sharpen your will, nurture your integrity. Because when you do, opportunities stop being rare. They start being attracted to you, drawn by the gravity of your character. The greatest mistake of youth is believing that success lies somewhere, out there. It never does. It begins here, in the way you think, in what you learn, in how you live when no one is watching. You don't stumble upon your destiny, you grow into it. And once you understand that truth, you'll stop chasing success and start becoming it. Fear is a clever thief. It doesn't steal your dreams in one bold act. It takes them little by little, disguised as reason, dressed in logic, speaking in the calm tone of self-preservation. It tells you to wait for the right moment, to think things through, to be practical. It tells you the world is dangerous, that you might fail, that people might laugh. And so in the name of safety, you build invisible walls around yourself. You stay in familiar places, do familiar things, live a familiar life, and call it being realistic. But in truth, fear has quietly taken command of your destiny. When I first began to understand fear, I realized it isn't the loud kind that shouts, "Don't do it." It's the quiet kind that whispers, "Maybe tomorrow." It sounds wise, it sounds cautious. But beneath that calm voice is a message that has imprisoned countless lives. Stay the same. Every great dream, every invention, every discovery was born from someone who decided to ignore that whisper. The difference between those who achieve and those who only imagine is not talent or opportunity. It is courage. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means acting in spite of it. Every person who has ever done something worthwhile has felt the tremor of doubt inside them. The artist facing the blank canvas, the entrepreneur risking everything, the student stepping into the unknown, all feel the same hesitation. The difference is simple: they take the step anyway. Growth never happens in comfort. Transformation never occurs in safety. You cannot cross into the life you desire without first walking through uncertainty. At 20, fear hides behind respectability. It says, be sensible. It tells you to get a safe job, to follow the well-worn path, to avoid making mistakes. It teaches you that failure is shameful and that risk is reckless. But those who listen to that voice live half a life. They become spectators in their own story. The truth is, the path that feels safest is often the one that leads nowhere. It may protect you from failure, but it also shields you from greatness. There's a law in life that cannot be escaped. Progress and comfort do not coexist. Every step forward demands that you leave something behind. Fear, doubt, laziness, approval. The more you cling to comfort, the less room there is for growth. The seed must break before it becomes a tree. The same is true for us. Our growth begins the moment we are willing to be uncomfortable. Think of every invention that changed humanity. The light bulb, the airplane, the computer. All were born from people who dared to fail spectacularly. They were told it couldn't be done. They were laughed at, doubted, even pitied. But they understood something most people never do. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is its foundation. Every failure contains a message, a correction, a refinement. Those who learn from it rise higher. Those who fear it never rise at all. Fear is not a wall, it is a mirror. It shows you where your limits are. But here's the secret: those limits are illusions. They exist only until you challenge them. Every time you confront a fear, speak in public, start a venture, learn a skill, take a risk, you push that boundary a little farther. What once terrified you becomes ordinary. What once seemed impossible becomes routine. Life expands in direct proportion to the courage you exercise. There will never be a right time to start. There will only be now, and the decision to act or not. The world rewards movement. Momentum creates opportunity. When you act, even imperfectly, you discover strengths you didn't know you had. But when you wait for confidence to arrive before taking action, you'll wait forever. Confidence is not the cause of action. It is the result of it. So many people live their entire lives waiting for a sign, for a guarantee, for some assurance that they won't fail. But life does not give guarantees. It gives choices. Every day you can choose fear or growth, comfort or courage. The ones who change their lives are not those who never feel fear. They are those who stop letting fear make their decisions. It's easy to underestimate how subtle fear can be. It can wear the mask of procrastination, perfectionism, or even humility. It can sound like, I'm not ready yet, or I'll do it when things settle down. But years pass and the conditions never arrive. The world belongs to those who take imperfect action, who move before they feel ready, who dare to look foolish for the sake of progress. The moment you decide to step forward despite fear, something remarkable happens. Life begins to meet you halfway. Doors you didn't know existed start to open. People appear. Ideas flow. Opportunities emerge. It's as if the universe was waiting for you to prove that you're serious. And once you do, it conspires to help you. At 20, you have more time, energy, and resilience than you may ever have again. But those gifts mean nothing if they are buried under hesitation. Fear may protect you from pain, but it also protects you from possibility. Every great journey begins with one step, often taken in uncertainty, trembling but determined. The reward for that step is not only what you achieve, it's who you become. The world is full of people who had dreams but never dared to pursue them. Don't join them. Let fear be your signal, not your stop sign. When something scares you, it's often the very thing you're meant to do. Walk toward it. Because on the other side of fear lies not danger, but freedom. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that no one is coming to rescue them. It doesn't happen in a grand revelation. It happens quietly. It's the day you look around and understand that the world doesn't owe you success, happiness, or fulfillment. It's the moment you see that waiting for luck, for help, for approval is the longest road to nowhere. That's the day your real life begins. Because when you stop waiting for someone to hand you your destiny and decide to create it yourself, everything changes. Most people spend their early years believing that someone else holds the key to their future. They wait for the right mentor, the perfect job, the big break, the person who will see their potential and open the door. They believe the world operates like a story, where a hero is discovered, guided, and rewarded. But life is not a story written for you. It is a story written by you. No one will appear with a magic opportunity. No one will lift you from your struggles. The power to move forward has always been, and will always be in your own hands. When you understand this, you stop blaming and start building. You stop asking, "Why don't they help me?" and start asking, "What can I do with what I have?" The people who accomplish the most in life are not those with the best circumstances. They are those who take responsibility for their circumstances. They refuse to be victims of fate. They know that while they can't control everything that happens to them, they can always control how they respond. Responsibility is the seed of freedom. The moment you claim ownership of your life, you begin to shape it. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you won't face hardship. In fact, it means you'll face it head on. You'll no longer hide behind excuses or wait for conditions to improve. You'll look reality in the eye and say, "It's my job to make this better." And strangely, once you do, the world begins to respond. Circumstances that once seemed immovable start to shift, not because the world suddenly favors you, but because you've changed your relationship with it. You've gone from being a passenger to being the driver. Every day, life gives us two choices. We can wait for someone else to decide our direction, or we can decide it ourselves. Waiting is easy, deciding is difficult. Waiting allows us to believe that something external will fix what's internal. Deciding demands courage, discipline, and accountability. But the truth is, those who take control of their own lives rarely fail. And even when they do, they learn faster, adapt faster, and rise stronger. The most powerful thing a person can say is, "I will figure it out." Those words separate the weak from the strong, the dreamers from the doers. Because the moment you make that declaration, you engage your mind's greatest power, creativity. You begin to see options, possibilities, and paths that were invisible before. When you rely on others, your vision narrows. But when you rely on yourself, your imagination expands. You stop asking, "Can I?" and start asking, "How can I?" That question changes everything. Many people think freedom comes from wealth, position, or recognition. But true freedom comes from self-reliance, from knowing that you can handle whatever life throws your way. It's the confidence that even if everything were taken from you, you could rebuild. That kind of independence doesn't come from what you own. It comes from what you know, what you believe, and what you're willing to do. When you stop depending on others to define your worth, you begin to grow in ways you never imagined. You stop seeking permission to chase your dreams. You stop waiting for encouragement to start. You stop craving validation to believe in yourself. The world respects those who act, not those who ask. The moment you step forward with conviction, people start to notice. Not because you begged for their approval, but because you proved your ability through your action. There is a quiet strength in those who take responsibility for their lives. They don't complain. They don't point fingers. They know that every setback carries a lesson. Every problem holds a seed of growth. They ask, "What can I learn from this?" instead of, "Why did this happen to me?" And that simple change in attitude transforms obstacles into opportunities. The irony of life is that the moment you stop expecting others to save you, people start appearing to help. But this time, it's different. You're not dependent on them. You're leading your own journey, and others are drawn to that energy. Leadership, success, and influence flow naturally from those who have learned to lead themselves first. At 20, it's easy to believe that you're not ready yet, that you need more time, more resources, more experience. But readiness is an illusion. You'll never have all the answers, and you'll never be completely prepared. The secret is to begin anyway, to step forward even when you feel uncertain, to take the first step with the faith that the next will reveal itself along the way. Because action, not waiting, builds momentum. Life rewards initiative. Every time you take ownership, life opens a door. Every time you decide instead of delay, you grow. Every time you stop asking for permission and start creating your own path, you prove that you were capable all along. You don't need someone to choose you. You need to choose yourself. And when you do, you'll realize the greatest power you could ever possess was never authority, fame, or wealth. It was self-mastery, the ability to steer your own life, no matter the storm. There is a force in life more powerful than circumstance, more decisive than talent, and more transformative than luck. It is the power of attitude. Everything that happens to you, every joy, every challenge, every opportunity, is filtered through the lens of your attitude. It determines how you see the world, how you respond to it, and ultimately, how far you go within it. You can have all the skill in the world, all the intelligence, all the ambition, but if your attitude is wrong, you will sabotage every gift you possess. On the other hand, with the right attitude, even the smallest opportunity can become the beginning of something extraordinary. When we are young, we are taught to focus on what we can get: grades, recognition, money, approval. But life is less about what we get and more about what we see. Two people can stand in the same storm, and one will see destruction while the other sees renewal. One will curse the rain, and the other will plant seeds. The difference between those two people is not their situation, it's their perception. Attitude is the silent sculptor of destiny. It shapes how we interpret the events of our lives, and through that interpretation, it shapes our future. Most people live as though attitude is something reactive, something determined by what happens to them. But the truth is, attitude is a choice, a conscious decision about how you will view the world. You can choose to see difficulty as defeat or as a challenge that strengthens you. You can choose to see failure as humiliation or as education. You can choose to see people as obstacles or as teachers. Every moment of your life offers this choice, and the choice you make determines the quality of your experience. Attitude is not about pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It's about maintaining your direction when things aren't fine. It's the discipline to stay focused on solutions instead of problems, to remain calm when others panic, and to keep moving when others give up. The world rewards those who can stay steady in the storm because they become beacons of stability in a world that constantly shifts. The people who rise in life are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who keep their attitude intact when they do. There is something magnetic about a positive, determined mind. It draws opportunity. It inspires trust. People want to follow it, work with it, and believe in it. When you walk into a room with confidence, with optimism, with a sense of purpose, you don't have to demand respect. It's given to you. Your attitude speaks long before your words do. It announces who you are, what you stand for, and how much faith you have in yourself. A poor attitude, on the other hand, repels opportunity. It closes doors before they open. It convinces you that the world is unfair, that success is for others, that effort is pointless. And once you start to believe those thoughts, they become your reality. The mind is a powerful instrument. It cannot hold two opposing beliefs for long. If you tell yourself you're limited, you'll act in ways that prove it. If you tell yourself you're capable, you'll find the courage to prove that too. Your attitude affects not only how you see the world, but how the world sees you. People naturally mirror the energy they receive. Approach life with enthusiasm, and life responds with opportunity. Approach it with resentment, and it responds with resistance. The more you complain, the more reasons you find to complain. The more you give thanks, the more reasons you discover to be grateful. The law is simple: whatever you focus on expands. There's a great power in gratitude, not the kind that's polite or rehearsed, but the kind that truly recognizes the gift in every moment. Gratitude transforms attitude. When you start to see life as something happening for you instead of to you, you stop fighting the flow of it. You realize that every obstacle contains a lesson, every delay holds a purpose, and every challenge carries within it the seed of growth. This mindset turns life from a burden into a journey, and from survival into creation. At 20, it's easy to believe that external success will fix everything, that once you achieve your goals, your happiness will naturally follow. But the truth is reversed. Happiness and success don't follow achievement. Achievement follows attitude. People who live with joy, confidence, and optimism tend to achieve more, not because life is easier for them, but because they move through life with more clarity and resilience. They don't crumble under pressure. They don't waste energy on negativity. They move forward with a quiet belief that no matter what happens, they'll find a way. You can change your entire life by changing one simple habit, the habit of how you think when things go wrong. Most people spend their energy asking, "Why is this happening to me?" The right question is, "What can I do about it?" The first keeps you powerless, the second restores your control. Every time you shift your thinking from blame to responsibility, from frustration to curiosity, from defeat to determination, you rise a little higher. Attitude is the thermostat of your life. It sets the temperature of every experience. When it's low, even small problems feel unbearable. When it's high, Even great challenges become manageable. You cannot always control the weather outside, but you can control the climate within. That's what attitude truly is, the climate of your mind. It decides whether you walk through life burdened or empowered, bitter or grateful, hopeless or unstoppable. No one can change your attitude for you. It is yours alone, your most private possession, your most powerful tool. Guard it, nurture it, train it, because when your attitude is right, no failure is permanent, no obstacle insurmountable, and no dream too distant. Your attitude, more than anything else, will determine not only how high you rise, but how deeply you live. Time is the one resource we all receive equally, yet it's the one most often wasted. Every sunrise hands us 24 golden hours, hours that will never return once spent. At 20, time feels endless, a vast ocean stretching beyond sight. We tell ourselves there's plenty of it, plenty of time to start, to learn, to dream, to build. But one day you look back and realize that time is not infinite. It is life itself. Every second you waste is not just a moment lost. It is a piece of your existence slipping quietly away. People often say that time is money, but that's not true. You can lose money and earn it again. Time, once gone, is gone forever. It doesn't wait, it doesn't pause, and it doesn't bargain. It moves forward, indifferent to your excuses, untouched by your regrets. You can't store it, save it, or buy more of it. You can only use it. The question that defines every human life is simple. What will you do with the time you've been given? The tragedy is that most people don't realize the value of time until it's running out. They think they're waiting for the right moment, a perfect alignment of circumstances, a sign, a guarantee. But that moment never comes. There is no perfect time to begin. There is only now. The longer you wait to live, the more life passes you by. Tomorrow is the word that steals more dreams than failure ever could. At 20, it's easy to believe that you'll start later. After graduation, after getting a job, after saving some money, after finding yourself. But every after pushes your potential further into the future until one day you realize you've been living in delay. Time doesn't stop to let you catch up. It doesn't forgive hesitation. The hours you spend waiting are the hours someone else spends building, learning, growing. And life always rewards the builders. If you could see time as a currency, you would treat it differently. Imagine if every morning a bank deposited $400 into your account, the same number of seconds you receive each day. You could spend it however you wanted, but at the end of the day, whatever you didn't use would disappear. How carefully would you spend it then? Would you waste it on trivial things or invest it in something lasting? That's exactly how time works. It is wealth that vanishes daily, leaving only the results of how you used it. The way you use your time defines your future long before you reach it. Success is not one grand event. It is the accumulation of wisely spent hours. The books you read today shape your thinking tomorrow. The habits you form today determine your discipline tomorrow. The minutes you trade for mindless distraction are the same minutes that could have been used to master a skill, strengthen your body, or nourish your mind. Time, more than talent, separates the great from the ordinary. Yet time doesn't demand perfection, only intention. It asks that you live deliberately, that you decide what truly matters and give it your best energy. Too many people drift through their days reacting to whatever comes their way. They let the urgent crowd out the important. They spend their hours surviving instead of creating. But those who understand time know that every day is an investment, and the returns depend entirely on what you put into it. Discipline is the bridge between time and achievement. Without discipline, time slips through your fingers. You start your day meaning to work on your goals, but distractions lure you away. A message, a video, a conversation that leads nowhere. Hours pass, and you wonder where the day went. But those who master discipline master time. They know that every moment spent in focus compounds. Like drops of water filling a cup, their efforts add up, quietly and steadily until success overflows. Time also teaches humility. It shows us that no matter how much we plan, control, or strive, moments cannot be relived. You can't redo a lost hour or reclaim a wasted day. You can only learn from it and decide to do better with the next. And that's the beauty of time. While it never gives back what's lost, it always offers a new beginning in every dawn. You can start over today, this very moment, by choosing to value your time as the precious gift it is. If you want to predict your future, Look at how you're spending your time right now. Your habits are the blueprint of your destiny. The person who dedicates an hour a day to improvement will, in a few short years, surpass the one who merely hopes. The student who studies consistently, the artist who practices daily, the dreamer who acts relentlessly, all prove one universal law. Time rewards consistency more than intensity. The most fulfilled people are not those who lived the longest, but those who lived most consciously. They understood that time is not measured in years but in moments of purpose. They filled their days with meaning, with creation, contribution, learning, and love. When their time was gone, they didn't regret how much they had. They were grateful for how deeply they had lived. So guard your time as you would your most valuable possession. Protect it from distraction, from doubt, from anything that doesn't serve your higher purpose. Because the truth is simple yet profound, you are not running out of time. You are living through it. Each moment is both a gift and a choice. And how you spend this very moment determines not just how you live today, but who you will become tomorrow. Happiness is a word we hear so often that it begins to lose its meaning. We chase it, wish for it, and plan for it as though it were a prize to be won someday in the distant future. We say, I'll be happy when I graduate, when I get that job, when I find the right person, when I finally make it. But life has a way of moving the finish line. The moment you reach one goal, another appears, and the happiness you expected to find is still somewhere ahead. What no one tells you when you're 20 is that happiness isn't waiting at the end of the road. It's built in the steps you take along the way. It's not a treasure to be found, it's a way of walking. Happiness does not come from what we possess but from how we perceive. Two people can live in the same world, with the same circumstances, yet one feels blessed while the other feels burdened. The difference lies not in what they have but in how they think. True happiness begins in the mind, in the ability to see beauty where others see monotony, to find meaning where others see struggle, to feel gratitude where others feel lack. When you learn to direct your thoughts, you begin to direct your emotions, and in doing so, you take charge of your happiness. Many people spend their lives postponing joy. They believe happiness must be earned through struggle, that it's a reward for success or recognition. But happiness isn't something you arrive at. It's something you practice. It's found in small acts of purpose, in moments of connection, in the satisfaction of giving your best. The happiest people are rarely the richest or most powerful. They are the ones who have learned to align their lives with their values, to find fulfillment in contribution rather than consumption. They understand that the more you give of yourself, the more whole you become. At 20, it's easy to believe that happiness will appear once life becomes easier, once you have everything figured out. But waiting for happiness is like waiting for a train that's already left the station. You don't need perfect circumstances to feel content. You need the right perspective. The truth is that the hardest seasons of your life often hold the greatest opportunities for joy, because it's in those moments that you learn what really matters. You discover strength you didn't know you had, gratitude for what you once took for granted, and peace in the simple act of enduring. Happiness is not about escaping pain, but about understanding it. Every difficulty carries within it a message, a lesson meant to shape you. Pain, when accepted with awareness, becomes wisdom. The person who learns to smile through hardship does not do so because life is easy. They do so because they have learned to find meaning in every experience. And meaning is the foundation of happiness. When you live with purpose, even your struggles gain value. You begin to see that the same rain that soaks the ground also nourishes the roots that sustain you. Another illusion many fall into is believing that happiness depends on other people, that someone else will complete them, save them, or bring them peace. But no one can carry that responsibility for you. Relying on others for your joy is like trying to light your candle from a flame that isn't yours. The moment that flame flickers, your world darkens. Happiness must come from within, from the quiet confidence that you are whole, that your worth isn't determined by the opinions or actions of others. Only when you stop seeking external validation do you begin to experience the calm, lasting joy that comes from self-respect and self-understanding. Gratitude is the soil from which true happiness grows. The more you focus on what's right in your life, the more of it you see. The more you give thanks for the ordinary, the more extraordinary it becomes. Gratitude doesn't ignore pain, it transforms it. It says, yes, this is difficult, but look how far I've come. Look at what remains. It trains the mind to dwell not on what's missing, but on what's present. And in doing so, it turns even the smallest moments into sources of joy. Happiness also thrives in simplicity. The modern world teaches us that fulfillment comes from accumulation. More things, more recognition, more noise. But the more we chase those things, the emptier we feel. Happiness doesn't need much to survive. It lives in quiet mornings, honest work, meaningful conversations, and moments of laughter shared with those you love. It's not found in constant excitement, but in peace, in the stillness of knowing you are living in alignment with your purpose. One of the most powerful realizations you can have is that happiness is not passive, it's active. It's not something that happens to you. It's something you create. It's built in the decisions you make, the attitudes you adopt, and the way you treat others. Every act of kindness, every moment of discipline, every expression of gratitude adds another brick to the foundation of a joyful life. The people who radiate happiness are not those who have the most, but those who make the most of what they have. At 20, you might think the world owes you happiness, that if you do the right things, life will reward you with contentment. But happiness doesn't come from waiting for life to please you. It comes from learning how to please life. It's found in curiosity, in growth, in the pursuit of excellence. It's in the moment you realize that every day is an opportunity, not to avoid pain, but to experience purpose. Happiness is not a destination, it's a direction. It's the light you carry with you as you travel the road of growth and self-discovery. When you stop searching for it in the distance and start creating it in the present, you unlock the secret that changes everything. That joy isn't something to find, it's something to be. And so, as we come to the end of this journey, these reflections on what I wish I knew at 20, let us return to where it all began. The realization that life is not something that happens to us, but something that happens through us. Every thought we think, every habit we build, every choice we make becomes the brushstroke that paints the picture of our destiny. We are, each of us, both the artist and the canvas. If there is one lesson that ties all others together, it is this: everything you seek, success, happiness, fulfillment, peace, begins within you. You don't find it in luck, in others, or in circumstance. You find it in growth, in courage, in attitude, in the discipline to use your time wisely, and in the wisdom to be grateful for every step of the way. The world does not reward wishful thinking, it rewards consistent becoming. You will stumble, you will fail, and you will face fear that feels bigger than your strength. But remember, fear is the sign that you are growing. Failure is proof that you are trying. And time, that silent companion, is your greatest ally if you choose to use it well. Each day is a new beginning, a fresh invitation to become a little wiser, a little braver, a little more of who you were meant to be. So don't wait for someone to open the door for you. Build your own door. Don't wait for permission to dream. Live your dream with such conviction that the world has no choice but to make room for it. Choose growth over comfort, purpose over ease, and gratitude over complaint. Because in the end, destiny doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. And one day when you look back, you'll realize that the words that changed your destiny weren't spoken by others. They were the words you whispered to yourself the day you decided to take control of your life. I will become more. That is where it all begins. That is where everything changes.